Hello. Hello and welcome to Fording Dwarves. We'll be going back to our forts today and set up some defenses. It's going to be one moment. We'll begin here. All right, here we are in Rat Church, the Church of Rats. I'm going to zoom out here. You'll notice here in our entrance to the fort, we have no defenses unless something comes from the north and doesn't know how to walk around walls. Assuming that that is not going to be the case and that they are going to know how to walk around a wall and that the cat there isn't going to kill them. We have a little bit of defenses to set up, and we're going to go over that today. How we set up defenses and what we do when enemies come. First, I'm just going to start with I guess I'm going to have to pet my dog because she is very insistent about the attention. So that's going to make it difficult to use the mouse because, children come to the rescue. Oh no. Oh my. She's nosing my hand, my mouse hand. Let's see, I can do this with the other hand. It's kind of, this is really anticlimactic there. All right. So, I'm going to leave a 3 wide gap there. I'm going to build this down to be symmetrical because that's the kind of guy I am. I'm also going to build all the way across in the south here. And conglomerate, I'm going to use conglomerate for all this. And I'm going to build up here like this. So what I've left is 3 wide spaces, which we are going to put drawbridges in. We're going to hit B and B, and that brings up our bridge menu. This interface up here is a little bit confusing, if you can see where I'm clicking around. When the drawbridge is put up with one of these options, it will form a wall. So what you can do is, if we zoom in, you can see the little nubbins on the side of the bridge. Those nubbins act as the axis for the bridge. So if I want the bridge to open to the right, I'm going to click this right opening button. And the nubbins, I'm just going to go over here so you can see what I'm doing. The nubbins, you see, stay on that far right selection no matter how big I make the bridge. So the nubbins are going to indicate where the wall would form. So no matter how long I make the bridge, physics be damned, the wall is going to form along that right side. So right now it looks like it would be 4 wide, 4 tall. Yeah, 3 tall, 2 tall, 1 tall, right? Whatever. So the width doesn't really matter. We can be decorative because we're not spanning a hole or anything in this construction. I'm going to hit BNB again. We can make it, any length. So I'm going to zoom out a little. So I'm going to make this 3 by 3, and that's just for pretty sake. I'm not going to use conglomerate. I'm going to use something else. Pudding stone does sound delicious. So let's make it out of pudding stone. Now I'm going to do the same thing over here, BNB. I'm going to click this button because I like keeping the building after placement. And this time I'm going to click this so it opens to the left, or it goes up to the left. And we'll click like that. And then I'm going to also use pudding stone. The other thing I'll point out in this menu while we're here is this option where the bridge actually disappears when it is switched on or off. So disappearing, it doesn't particularly go, left, right, or north, south. It just disappears. So you don't really need to worry about where it's disappearing to. Got a dead tree frog there. That's wonderful. I have a mechanic shop, so that's great. I don't know if I have any mechanisms yet. I don't remember. So I'm going to hit B for build, M, machines, L, lever. So ideally what we want to do is connect a lever to these bridges. I'm going to go down here, and assuming I've built my bedrooms here, I've got some workshops here, the offices and things I need are going to probably be around here too. You can see actually there's an office right there. I'm going to build my switches right here in the middle of this busy activity area. That's so that when I ask my dwarves to swap them on and off, it'll be pretty quick. We're going to have these two drawbridges as a kind of our last defense against invaders. So I'm going to put those right in front of the door of the main office. Well, it says make mechanisms first because I have not made any mechanisms. I'm going to hit O and go to my job menu. I always like to have rock mechanisms on hand. So I'm going to type in rock mechanisms. I'm going to say make 10. I'm going to click this green doodle hickey. I'm going to say if rock mechanisms is less than 10, make 10 rock mechanisms. And that way we will always have rock mechanisms around. One thing that you can do there too is once you get a ton of stone, this looks like it's going to be a very conglomerate heavy map. I've got some clay over here, but once I go down, yeah, I've got more conglomerate. You might want to set the type of rock that you use to a rock that you're going to have a lot of. But if you eventually get to having, say, microcline or other colors of stone, here's some microcline is blue. There's some jet around somewhere. Oh, here's some right here. It's black. If you make a jet bridge, you might want to make a jet mechanism to make your lever so that the lever matches the bridge, which can be very nice in just making it easy to find the lever to pull. But I'll show you in a minute. I name levers also once they're built, so we won't have a problem. We'll be able to click on the lever and see what it's supposed to do. There's a mountain goat fighting. I'm not going to get into that right now. I think my dogs are fighting mountain goats. All right. Next, we're going to talk about our death tunnel, TM. There are a lot of ways to build a death tunnel. I'm going to show you probably a more complex way, but also a more safe way. So we're going to go over and we're just going to find a place to dig in. This will take a while to dig out, so you're not going to see the whole process here. But I'm just going to show you what we would do. And then over time, our dwarves will dig it out. So when invaders come, we're going to close this up, right? We're going to close this up. We might have some extra walls around. We're going to close those up as well with drawbridges. And we're going to try and use that as our first line of defense. One of the things I'll also be doing after probably these walls are built is I'll put a roof over this, possibly a second level and then a roof, especially if this is our kind of last line of defense. If you put that second level up and then you put fortifications up, it makes a good place to shoot from. We could even go up 2 levels, and I can show you how to make walls unclimbable so that the goblins that inevitably come to visit you can't just climb over your walls. But a roof will also prevent them from climbing the walls and then jumping right down in your stairwell, which is what we don't want. Once we box in ourselves in our first line of defense, we can't go outside because we've closed ourselves off, and that's not a great way to live. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a back entrance, and that back entrance is going to be probably somewhere over here. It's a place for our dwarves to be able to run in if we have to close them out, which hopefully we don't, but things happen. But more importantly, it is a place to lure invaders into. When the invaders see that this is all closed up, even if they could climb it, if they see a way where they don't have to climb, they tend to go that way. So we're going to build a tunnel that goes all the way through this mountain, through this hillside, goes down a level and or two, and lets them, they think, enter our base. Secretly, we have either, um, a quick way to pull a switch that'll pull up a drawbridge. We have a door that we could forbid. I don't like that as a go-to, but it's a good first step. Doors can be broken down. And also, if the enemy gets to them, you can't forbid them anymore. We can talk about that later, and I might put a door in as our first step. But mostly what we're going to do is have a one width walkway over a deep pit. We're going to cover that walkway in traps, weapon traps, mostly. You can use stone fall traps too, but those need to be reloaded, whereas weapon traps reload themselves. I'm going to quickly, can I get this melon? No, I guess not. But there's a couple other fruits over here I'll grab. This map does have a bunch of fruits that just drop on the ground, so we're going to be fine for food here. So at any rate, you want this one wide tunnel going through. So I'll just show you what that's kind of going to look like. We'll just use right here. So I'm just gonna start just by tunneling way back. I want to give myself a lot of room to work with. Okay. If we hit M and then N, we can see that these are set up at priority 4, which means it's going to take a while before my dwarves get around to that. So what we're going to do is we're going to have this going up. And then what we're going to do is we'll have the front gate of this area kind of be around here. We'll probably put a drawbridge in. And then I'm going to go 2 wide on either side of this and dig channels. And then what I'm not going to show right now, or I could show, but then I'd have to go back and erase it all. We're going to repeat this going down. So actually, I'll just show you. So we're going to go 5 across with, this is 1 layer down, just going up to check and then coming back down. We'll see, go up to check. 1 layer down, what I'm going to do is have all these as also channels. I'm going to set those at priority 2 so this stuff gets first. So this mining down the middle will leave a floor. The channels will take out the floor. These channels will take out the floor. We're going to go down another level, channel this all out, down another level, channel this all out, down another level, etc., etc. You're going to get a lot of rocks out of this. And what you're going to do after your doors have channeled down, let's say 10 levels. 10 is a pretty good fall distance that will kill most things. Then you can smooth the walls so they can't be climbed. You can build fortifications at the top so you can even shoot down, or in the middle so you can shoot down at things that are in the bottom. If your walls are all smooth on the bottom floor, which can be, let's say, difficult if you're tempted to dig out gems or minerals that you'll find down there, metals that you'll find down there, then yes, it can be. you can catch yourself saying, well, actually, I'd rather have those gems. But you can smooth several levels, and it'll be very, very difficult to climb. But if you do actually just smooth the bottom layer, metal ores be damned, and then build fortifications about 2 layers up, you'll have basically an unclimbable pit where then your Marks dwarves can go down and pick off anybody who survives the fall. Mostly they're not going to survive the fall, and the reason we dig out 2 squares, you could even dig out 3. I don't really think there's any creature that will jump 2 squares. But if you only leave 1 space, goblins will be able to go from the middle path and grab the wall over here if you only dig out 1 and then climb down safely. The main point is these weapon traps are going to make them dodge. When they successfully dodge the weapon traps, a lot of times they're going to end up out over the pit. They're going to have nothing to grab onto because we've channeled out at least 2 squares, and they're going to fall to their death. You could also fill the bottom with, you could have a pump set up and grate and fill it with water, and that will drown most creatures. This works well against goblins. It does not work well against serpent men and other dwellers of the deep caverns. So this is going to be our death tunnel, and what we're eventually going to do is hook this back up into our fort, and that will let dwarves escape, and it will trap invaders in a dangerous space. Right now we have a population of 19. Our generated wealth is virtually nothing at 9,000 dwarfy coins. And so we're not going to have to worry about invaders for a while. We may see snatchers, but we're not going to see a full invasion anytime soon. That said, it's never too early to plan for an invasion. I'm going to do something real quick while we start this defensive posturing, and I'm going to look at civilizations. Just interested. Do I have a deal with? Yes, I have a deal with the dwarves, and they want amulets. Excellent. So I've got a lot of shells because my dwarves are farming or fishing mussels out of this river. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a job to make a bunch of amulets. I'm just cancel the shell crafts job, and I'm going to specifically focus on shell amulets. And I'm going to make shell amulets until there are 100 shell amulets. And I'm going to make shell amulets as long as there are 10 shells. I'm going to say make 10 every time we have 10 unrotten shell parts. And I'm going to actually change this from greater than to at least, which it looks like we have exactly 10. In fact, if we look at our, we hit K and look at our stocks, that's the shortcut key for stocks. We look at body parts, we can see there looks to be 12 mussel shells. Oh, there's a wombat nose, sorry, so that's not a mussel shell. So it looks like we have 11 mussel shells. One of these might be set aside for a job already, marked for a job. One of them might be inaccessible or otherwise marked in some way that the game is not seeing them as available. And that's why we saw at least 10 worked on the previous screen, but for some reason we see 11 on the screen. A lot of times the differences there are differences between what the game knows is available because something might already have been taken for a job or marked for a job, and what we see in our stocks. I'm going to take these whip vines because whip vines are a very valuable plant, a good plant. Yeah, very valuable. I'd say useful in several ways. Also, I just want some muskmelons, so I can make some muskmelon wine or something like that. Again, this is overkill because I have more fruits to pull off the ground than I will ever need. Okay, I'm going to take a sip. So give me one moment. And we're back. All right. So we have a lot of work that is going to be done here on these defenses as we plan them out, and they take a while to be built. So let's see what else we can do with our time. We have bedrooms. We've got 19 people. They do not all have bedrooms yet. So I could start to mark the bedrooms to be mined out. Oops. You can see here, my mining didn't work because I probably accidentally hit O, which is dig only ore and gem selected. I don't want that, so I go back to the normal digging mode. I'm just going to dig out 3x3 rooms because this is a austere dwarven fortress where we don't have big fancy rooms for every jurist who comes along. I'm going to build in these walls here. Again, we've got a lot of digging and building that I've signed my dwarves up for, and I'm just going to kind of set up some more jobs for them to do. Unfortunately, a lot of times this work ends up being last in, first out, which means I might be distracting them from the defense building, but it's fine. We need a lot of bedrooms. Hit BPR. That gets you to doors. I'm going to build a few more doors. Conglomerate doors, conglomerate doors, conglomerate doors. This person can have a bauxite door to match their room. That's great. I've got some engravings here. I don't think I have a good engraver. I'm going to hit Y and look at my labor. And I'm going to find my engravers. And I'm going to see that I have some dabbling engravers, but nobody who's really great. When I have people who are better, I will probably say only selected do this. And I will mark off the engravers who have better skill. That is because then they're going to more often produce high quality engravings, like masterwork engravings, which can greatly increase the value of a room. Um, while I'm thinking of it, I'm a long way off from this, but we have some fire clay here. I'm going to mark this as a clay gathering area. Um, as I go further over here, I can see there's a murky pool here, and we've got clay up here. So there's probably a lot of clay over here. I'm going to cancel that. But this area, as I go further back into this clay, this whole area is going to be not ideal for making rooms and such because clay can't be smoothed, it can't be engraved. I'm going to hit packets of clay over here that are going to ruin my rooms. I don't really want to build floors, so we're probably not going to use this area extensively for fancy rooms. But it will be a good area for storage because the quality of storage rooms is really unimportant. We've got some clay over here. Maybe I went over that before. Oh, we've got sand on one level, clay on the other. Wow, if I can get some lava going, this is going to be a wonderful place to produce some sand and clay. Okay, I've still got mining to do down here to clean up my farm. That's right, there are definitely aquifers here. I think I talked about aquifers before and how we smooth them. One thing that I don't think I mentioned, and it's not something I think about a lot, that is that aquifers can leak from above to below. So if I dig underneath this aquifer and I haven't dug out the area above it, if I was down a level and I dug this out or I dug this out over here where there's still aquifer up here, we can assume, the ceiling will drip and I'll still get water even if I smooth all the walls. So the best way to work with an aquifer is usually top down. Don't dig out a big area down here until you are ready, until you've kind of dug out the area up here. So looking at this, I've got sand piled up over here. I've got clay piled up over here. This is not great for real development, but they're good for storage rooms, so I'll probably put some storage rooms over there. I don't remember digging out any storage rooms. In fact, I don't know where my stockpiles are right now at all. Oh, look, they're down here. And, of course, here we're going to see ceiling leaking. I can almost guarantee it. Although I don't see an aquifer here on this level. Maybe we'll get away with it. But I'm going to probably change my mind here. And this was a good place to start. And it can be hard if you put your stockpiles near the surface because you have to defend them. Because it's a good place for thieves to go in and just take valuables if you're storing them in there. So two solutions there are don't store your valuables in there and defend it with traps. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come out 3 spaces. We can build a nice defensive area there. And I am going to put my stockpiles in here. I'm going to go, let's see, this is 5 by 5. Oh, man, there's a darn pool right there. Well, I'm going to cancel this, and I'm going to go north, and we're going to see if I can luck out there a little better. So I'm going to put, well, let's be thoughtful. And it looks like I've got my stuff kind of stowed away. So I'm going to dig over here. And maybe I can go and make some sort of living areas here. Maybe start squaring away space for temples and guild halls, which my doors will eventually be bugging me about. And then I could put storage behind that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just dig out a test area here. I'm probably going to hit clay, and thus this is not going to be a good place for a temple. I want to just be able to smooth a temple and engrave it, potentially give it, a little few more points of value with some easy work. I'm going to dig this out as a potential temple, and if I don't hit clay, then this is a good place to start putting temples, and then back here might be a good place to start putting some storage, and I can kind of mix and match. Keeping these temples and guild halls nearer to the living quarters is, I don't think it actually makes a big difference as long as your dwarves don't have to walk around the entire circumference of your map to get to the various places they want to go. So I put those in with a 2. You want to start to set those areas aside early. I'm going to quickly hit I and capital F to unforbid this stuff. This is a pile of stuff that I moved out as trash, and there's gems and valuable stone in there, so I want to keep it. Let's see how our fella's doing with rock mechanisms. They are being made. So I guess I can start to look at, let's see, B, M, L. I'm going to pause. And I'm going to build a lever right here. We've got 2 conglomerate mechanisms. So we can build a lever there and a lever here. We're going to need 4 more mechanisms to hook up each of these. 2 for this one that goes in the lever, 1 that goes in the bridge, and 2 for this one that goes in the lever, 1 that goes in the bridge. The materials of these won't matter. We're not dealing with any lava, magma, or anything else, so we can use any form of stone. When we're working with magma, one thing we want to be able to check is whether a stone is magma safe. I think conglomerate isn't. Yep, conglomerate is not. We're also, I don't know what else we were seeing underground here. I haven't been paying that close of attention. But generally, if you start digging underneath your map, you're going to hit gabbro, you're going to hit, let's see, bauxite is pretty popular. Orthoclase, you're going to see, those are usually easy to find, magma safe. Sandstone usually would be near the surface, so we're probably not going to see that here. And chromite is around sometimes, basalt's around sometimes. And then there are always the economic stones you can also use for that purpose, although I wouldn't use any of them that are an ore. In fact, probably most of them are not better off being used as mechanisms rather than being used for their intended purpose. Obsidian being a notable exception, but once you can get obsidian, you're usually making it. And once you can make obsidian, you probably have your magma under control. That said, it is a good magma safe material. So we're going to probably hit something eventually in this map, which will give us something magma safe to work with, but we'll have to see. I'm not seeing anything immediately, but I don't exactly have all the magma safe materials memorized. So back to defense. You can defend three wide hallways economically. It's not great if you're trying to do it with weapon traps because of usually the amount of metal that you need to sink into a set of weapons to make a weapon trap extremely effective. But cage traps are a great way to defend these areas. Generally, you are hoping that by the time any enemy has started to get that close to your base, that it's an invasion and you were warned and that you had time to pull up your drawbridges and that you have extra walls and such that are slowing the invaders down before they get to this point. Then you're going to be able to defend your one wide trap death tunnel here or other one wide places in your base You can also turn a 3 wide hallway into a 1 wide hallway by using tricks involving drawbridges, but that of course still limits your trap placement. But I can just show you. If you don't care about how it looks, you do something like this. So what's going to happen if I build this bridge is it's going to be a wall. It's going to be, if it's down, my dwarves are going to walk right over it. If it's up, it's going to be a wall. And then I can trap the middle, right? And then I could do the same down here with another one. And it doesn't matter whether it opens up or down as long as it's one of those two directions. I'm going to go down just for the sake of consistency. So now I've got these two. I can hook them both to one lever if I wanted. And they would go turn into walls, trap the middle. That way you don't have, you have a lot of room for your dwarves to move around. Your base might look a little nicer if you like wide hallways like I do. But you're not opening yourself up to horrible invasions just because you like a wide hallway. So we can do that below ground. We can do that above ground. And it's not a bad trick. It's not, doesn't make a lot of sense. I guess it depends on how much sense you want it to make. And we can even do interesting things like the old twisty passages trick, where you're going to put this like this, and then you're going to put one here, and then you're going to put one here, and we want to put one here, let's say, and we're going to put one down here. Why am I doing all this? Well, what I'm doing is I'm leaving, if all of these were turned into walls, I'm leaving 1 square space for my dwarves to run down, or for invaders to come in. But the important point is, a dwarf standing over here by this gem cannot be shot by a goblin standing over here on the far left, because this will be a wall in between them. Goblins will just stand before your traps and shoot down long hallways at your dwarves. So putting up little barriers that your dwarves can still walk through, but that your the goblin enemies can't shoot through is another little trick. So what I'm going to do now is we've got walls around here. I'm going to build up a little bit so that we can have a nice defensive fortification. BNR is what I'm going to look for. Oh no, you know what I'm going to do? BNT. I'm going to build stairs. The stairs are not going to be routed through the central area, but rather I'm going to route them through the corners. So I'm going to go up 3 here. We'll use our conglomerate. Go down 3 here. We'll use our conglomerate. Go up 3 conglomerates. And whoops. Go up 3 here. And use our conglomerate. So what I'm effectively doing is this first level above the ground, I'm gonna put a floor in. I'm gonna put walls all the way around it. And then I might put I like to put military barracks in those towers and things like that. This is our main tower, but it's still a good place for a military barracks, I think. You can also put your tavern up there. It kind of keeps your visitors away from your main base by Z level, but I prefer to put a tavern a little bit further away so that it's a little bit more isolated from the base. There are reasons for that. One is because thieves will definitely be in your tavern, and they'll be saying that they are bards or poets or what have you, and they are not. They are thieves or members of criminal organizations plotting to steal your artifacts. So you want to keep an eye on them and keep them away from your good stuff. 2, if there is an incident and you need to secure your base and you don't care as much about your visitors, you can secure them separately. So on this first level, maybe I'll build a barracks. And then 1 level up, I'll probably also maybe put some barracks or something like that. But more importantly, I'll put fortifications all around here. and that will let my dwarves shoot out, which will be great if I have goblins or invaders who have crossed my first set of walls, or maybe even my second set of walls, and have surrounded my main base. I can get up in those towers and shoot at them. And that's, of course, if I'm not trying to lure them through my death tunnel, which there might be reasons for. Then I need to go up one more level and build a roof over it. And that's so that uh, mostly to avoid aerial or climbing invaders. Now, you can also stop climbers by building one layer of floor, specifically floor, one Z level off the ground or multiple Z levels off the ground, all the way around your walls. Well, right now you can see it doesn't allow me, but because I have no stairs up there yet. So if you do that, climbers can't get past that floor. If it's a wall, they can get past it. They can kind of, I don't know. I don't know how it works exactly in the fiction, but they can climb out and climb up the wall. So you want to use a floor. It's not thematically pretty in your head. It also won't look pretty on your map, but it works. You could also just forego that and not really worry about goblins necessarily climbing up your walls if you put a roof over top of your towers, which only takes stone and time. It's not really a big deal. Uh, and that's usually my preferred way of going. Just deter them from even really getting anything out of climbing. I mean, if they really want to climb the wall and get nothing out of it, I guess that doesn't really upset me. It's a good way to escape my marksman. Generally, though, that fortification level with the possibility of my dwarves shooting out of it is not really the way that I end up handling most invasions. The death tunnel is pretty much my main method. With good death tunnel tactics, you can have drawbridges at several points along the tunnel, so you can trap enemies at different points, make them turn back, have to go back through the trapped bridge, fall off of it. You can have dwarves shooting at them through the death tunnel, etc. What we really want this main tower and any other entrances to our base to be is we want them to be able to be sealed up so that no one can get in them. And then we can guide our enemies through other entrances. Now, you will note that invasions are often preceded by snatchers or thieves coming into your base, trying to sneak into your base. And that is why we will put some cage traps along here. And then, as long as our dwarves notice the thief or the snatcher, they will be caught in our cage traps. And then we'll have an excess of goblins in cage traps that we'll have to worry about cleaning up. So, there are a couple ways for us to handle this from here. If we want to trap these squares, we can build walls here. Or we can build long, extensive pathways out so that we can trap outside. I've done both. There's not really a necessarily better thing to do. In this case, we do a lot of fruit gathering and such, or we can do a lot of fruit gathering at this base. So I might want to build them inside so my dwarves aren't having to go the long way out to their trees or what have you. I put the gatherings, yeah, they're pretty close. I could also like close off this side most of the time because most of the work seems to be to the west. So I could kind of not really have the east be accessible and have the drawbridge up most of the time. Whatever. I'm going to build out just as an idea. I'm going to start with just 5. This is just kind of laying down the generic structure. 5 is only going to get us 3 actual spaces where we could put traps. 3 layers of cage traps is fine for defending against thieves, snatchers. You do not want. Oh man, I'm out of conglomerate. Oh no. You do not want armies moving through that. That's not going to stop an army. I'm going to come down here and just start digging some more spaces because I need some more spaces. I need some more rocks. So how about an office here? And then, whoops, I'm going to make this office this way. So I'm going to show you a different way of doing this than the way I did it on this floor that a lot of people seem to prefer, and I don't think there's anything wrong with it. You can do this long ways like this, or you could do it short ways like this. I'm going to do it short ways for no particular reason. And actually, I'm going to do it. I'm going to change this because I found that I actually like it facing this way. So what am I doing? I'm making a 5x3 bedroom. I'm going to make a doorway there and a 5x3 bedroom. I'm going to make a doorway there and a 5x3 bedroom. I'm going to make a doorway there and a 5x3 bedroom. Dwarves do not care if people walk through their bedrooms to get to other rooms. So this doesn't take any more doors. It doesn't take any more digging squares. It doesn't take any more anything. You just want to make sure that you're not making the trips too long, because this dwarf is going to have to come up here and go all the way in here. Now up here, that's the same problem. They're going to have the same problem. They're going to have to come up here, go into this hallway, and come up here, right? These dwarves are going to have an even longer walk all the way up to here. So generally, you're not creating a longer walk for them either. And again, it saves, doesn't save on doors, but just kind of makes your space a little bit more easier to organize. And it saves you on these hallways, which actually does save you space. So I'm going to do that. We need more conglomerate to build stuff, unless I want mismatching walls, which I do not. And we need more bedrooms too, so solves two problems. Now down here we've got our wet layer. The farm is as big as I wanted it to be, so I'm going to smooth. Whoops, I do not want to smooth the floor. Hit XB and cancel that. VM gets us our smoothing. I'm going to smooth there, and that should stop leaking now. We've got a damp rough one there. We still got limonite, conglomerates. I guess I want to dig out that limonite. It looks like above we don't have an aquifer, so this is our kind of starting aquifer level, which means if we dig this out first and then smooth it, we're going to have an easier time when we want to dig below it. So just keep that in mind as you dig out your aquifer, that if you're digging under an aquifer, you're going to get wet because the ceilings do drip. Okay, well, let's see. So we have more defenses to build here. They haven't even started on our death tunnel, but again, the death tunnel takes a long time with all the digging and smoothing, and if the bottom level, I will usually just smooth the whole thing because it is extremely effective at stopping climbers, because they're going to fall in the pit. You don't want them to climb back out. So on levels above that, though, I will dig out minerals and gems, and then I'll build walls, because if they can't climb up the first level, I'm not that worried about them climbing up the second level. So here we are. We've got no drinks, which isn't great. I don't know what happened there, but we can find out. So let's look at our orders. We've got brew a drink from plant. It's all satisfied. I guess somebody hasn't gotten to it. That's some BS. So farmer, do we have a still? Yeah, no. That could be the problem. Did I forget to build a still, or is it down by the farm? It's not down by the farm. Well, that could be the problem. There's your problem. All right, so I built a food storage area here. Since we're out of drinks, I'm just going to quickly resort to B, O for workshops, F for the farming workshops, And I'm going to quickly build a still and a kitchen down here. I guess I could be really messy, build them there. That's a bad idea. I'm going to build one there on a micro clean, and I'm going to hit BOF, and I think that I just built a still, and I want to build a kitchen. I guess I should have been paying attention. I'm going to build that over there. This is a still. That's a kitchen. Excellent. So we are not firing on all cylinders, and that's because I am talking while I do this, um, and kind of directing this all in the wrong kind of way. Normally, I would be doing a lot of this stuff simultaneously, setting it up, having it all happen. Okay, let's talk about work we're going to do here. I don't have enough conglomerate to do this, or enough of any other stone. But you'll just build the floor, boom, like that. And that will cover this. Then on the next level, or on this level, also build the walls. I will show you a little trick there. You want to build one side. Let's just say bauxite. I'm going to cancel this, but then you build the other side. Okay. Don't build all four at once, because that corner, more often than not, will not be one of the first things they build, and then you won't be able to build the corner because they can't build diagonally. So build your corners first, generally by picking two walls and building those, and then build your sides around those corners. Same here. So this is our top floor, but we do want to build a roof, right? So what we're going to do there is build walls the same way we would below, but one of those walls we're going to instead make a ramp. You could also do stairs, but a ramp only takes one square. So you'd build a ramp anywhere along here, so that then your dwarves can go up on the roof temporarily, build the whole roof, then you come back down, you tear down the ramp, and then you build a wall in its place. And boom, your roof is done. You can also do this by scaffolding from the outside, by building stairs up from the outside and building it. However you like to do it. I just find the ramp methods pretty easy. So we've got a little space here we need more bauxite for, and then we'd start to build our traps in here. So I'll just mention a couple things about traps. The first thing I'll mention is that for weapon traps and possibly stonefall traps, the quality of the mechanism determines how good the trap is at hitting its target. This becomes extremely important for weapon traps. If you're investing a number of metal bars into making the various weapons that are going to go in your weapon trap, then you're going to want to make sure that that counts for something. So you want to put good mechanisms in your weapon traps. Stonefall traps, I usually am more of a set it and forget it. You're mostly with a stonefall trap, you're going to catch unwary enemies. You're going to slow them down. You're going to sometimes hit them and wound them enough to send them packing. Stonefall traps are across the board less effective than weapon traps, I'll say, at killing enemies. There are probably exceptions to that rule, but in general, weapon traps are going to be more effective. They reset themselves unless a corpse gets stuck in them. And then they have to be cleaned out before they can work again. But one good thing about the death tunnel is, in general, your enemies will dodge off the bridge to their doom before they get caught in the trap, being chopped up into bits and somehow jamming themselves into the mechanisms. So your weapon traps will work a lot longer in general. If you put weapon traps in a tunnel or another place where dodging is not going to happen, you're going to find that they get jammed up quite a bit, which might make them not much more effective than stonefall traps, a series of stonefall traps. But your mileage may vary. Build what you want to build. Stonefall traps are just very easy. Take one rock for the mechanism and one rock for the rock, and just the simplest things to build. Weapon traps take a lot more work. The weapons do wear out in the traps, which you have to deconstruct the traps to and then rebuild them with good weapons again to get out the bad weapons. But then you can melt down those weapons, and that's a whole other topic. So now that's the basic of how we're gonna build the defenses here. I'm not gonna wait for them all to be built because that is a process that takes a lot of time, and you'll be doing throughout your career of building up your fort. But that's the basic of how we're going to approach it, and we've got ourselves laid out for how it's going to go. I don't know what what we're going to cover in the next episode. We do have some mechanisms now, so let me finish this episode up by hooking up those mechanisms. We've got some bauxite mechanisms now, which is a shame because those are magma proof. So maybe we'll try to save those. But you don't actually get to pick which mechanisms get used in your contraptions. You can see here, I've got conglomerate mechanism and a bauxite mechanism. And I'm not happy about that mix. If you're not happy about the mix, you can hit K, go to mechanisms in the search bar, and you can forbid all the mechanisms you don't want to use. Now, some of these mechanisms are already in machines. These mechanisms might be in a lever. We can check, see, nope, these ones are in a furniture stockpile. All right. Unfortunately, this interface isn't great for this, but we generally don't need to check where every mechanism is. So maybe these mechanisms are all free. But regardless, nope, there we go. See, this one's in the conglomerate lever. So that's not really a useful mechanism. But nonetheless, we can very shortly do this. We're going to come over here and we're going to hit the lock. And that will forbid all the bauxite mechanisms. Then we can quickly hit this, link the lever, go up to the bridge that we want to link, click on that bridge, and we've got link bridge lever. I actually should have X that out because I wanted to show you hit link lever. Now you can see we're only using conglomerate levers, and we'll click on this bridge, and boom, we've got link building to trigger. Now we've forbidden all those bauxite mechanisms, and as I showed you, the conglomerate mechanisms in our list are in these levers. So now when I hit link lever, it's going to say need accessible mechanisms. And that's because we don't have any more conglomerate ones. Before I start the game up again, I want to go back and unforbid those mechanisms. I don't know the possible bad side effects if you've forbidden a mechanism that's in a lever, for instance. That means the lever doesn't work anymore. I don't want to find out. So I go back and unforbid the things after making sure that I've gotten the exact mechanisms I want, or the general mechanisms I want. I'm going to save those bauxite mechanisms for now, and that's because I don't have a lot of lava-proof, magma-proof stone aside from the bauxite. Now, I do seem to have a lot of bauxite around, or at least this whole area is bauxite, but that doesn't mean I'm going to have a lot of it going on. Like I said, once we get deep, we're probably going to find some gabbro and other stones that are safe. Oh, we've got sandstone. That's magma safe, so that's great. We have a sandstone layer down there. Dolomite is a flux stone, which we'll talk about at some other time. Generally, though, the important part about this flux stone and the 5 or 6 kinds of flux stone is you need them to make steel. Steel is one of the most valuable metals in the game. From the standpoint of its usefulness and value. Obviously, gold is more valuable, if I'm remembering correctly. So gold statues and stuff are great. Steel is great for weapons. Steel is great for trap components. Steel is great for armor. I don't think gold is. So that's why steel and the manufacturing of it is important, and it's also difficult. You need fluxstone, you need a source of carbon, which is usually coke, and you need, which you can get from bituminous coal or lignite, and then you need to, or charcoal, I think you might also be able to use. In fact, you might have to use charcoal in the process of making steel, even if you have a magma forge. I don't remember off the top of my head. So steel manufacturing is sort of a long and involved process in this game, but it does work out to be valuable. So actually, I think I've already forbidden the use of dolomite. Yeah, I do not have it as being used in non-economic jobs, which means our dolomite's only going to be used for the economic job of making steel. So it's just going to clog up our fort for now. That's fine. This storage area is terrible, but we'll live with that for a little while. What's my log situation looking like? I'm asking this because I have 79 logs. I'm going to make a couple more bins. Bins can only be made out of wood or metal. I obviously don't have a lot of metal manufacturing at this point. In fact, I have none. I have no ashery to make charcoal or wood furnace to make charcoal. I have no wood or forge to make metal objects. In fact, that might really be the good thing to cover next because I'll note that we have lots of trees in this area, but we do not have elves who are going to be trading with us, it looks like. So that means there's the fort we're at. We have dwarven civilizations nearby, but we don't have elves. So they will not be coming to bother us about how many trees we cut down. And since we have a lot of trees, we can do a lot of metal work before finding magma, which is its own thing. And I don't usually do that. I don't usually do a lot of charcoal metalworking. I usually go straight for the magma. But as this is a guide for beginners, that seems like a sensible thing for us to do. So I think we can look forward to talking and building out a small metalworking industry next week or next time, sorry. And we can also finish this tower and start to see if hopefully our dwarves will start digging out. Oh, I see. Well, yeah, everything's set to a very low priority, isn't it? So they weren't going to go dig those fours out, were they? Now they will dig out the start of our death tunnel. And you can name the death tunnel whatever you like. Trap tube. That's a good one. Or you could call it the mm, hmm, um, the I don't know, something with passage. I was trying to use alliteration. The perilous passage, that works. Yeah. Um, just waiting for this game to save. You could call it the Bridge of Khazad-dûm. That's not really. You don't have a Balrog probably. I mean, unless you can get a hold of one. But it's still a pretty intimidating name. So we've got a lot of chickens too, and we've got some alpacas, and might also be a good idea to build them a little walled-in area for their pasture. Um, I know that right now we've got them kind of here. We don't have any animal industry going, and those chickens are not laying eggs because we have not given them nest boxes, and we're not trying to shave the alpacas because we don't have. Well, we do have a farmer's workshop set up, but we don't have a job set up to shear any animals. So yeah, might be a good thing to do next time too. So we've got metal working and animal husbandry to look forward to. That's all for this episode, though. I hope you enjoyed our little trip to Dwarf Fortress. As always, if I can find it, let's see, where is it? Where is it? Here it is. Smash that like button and also that subscribe button. Uh, because I think, especially subscribe. I've only got like 6 subscribers, and I don't know that three of them even exist anymore. So why not, just subscribe. What's the worst that's going to happen? You're going to see a Dwarf Fortress video. Is that so bad? And if you like it, you're just making me feel better. So, I mean, is that so bad? I don't think so. So thanks again, and be sure to tune in next time for another episode of Fording Dwarves.